something new with my hair today. This was the first attempt, and this is when I finally got better at the technique. Y'all know my hairstylist. Y'all know I'm always going to do something different. Excuse me. It's something cool, so I might just start giving y'all some more hair content. Depends on how I feel. But without further ado, thank you guys for tapping in and being a part of the collective that is helping me grow my YouTube channel. On the goal to being 10K or having 10K subscribers. We are now currently at 360 something. I appreciate everyone who has tapped in thus far and followed me and became a part of the community. Especially since I started last summer and I only had like 100. So even though it's slow, I'm happy because I'm finding my way through what my content is going to be mainly focused on. But I feel my content is like so broad, but life is, and I enjoy talking about life, so I don't mind that at all. But yes, the method I did on my hair was a sock method. So, I mean, I kind of flat ironed my hair yesterday and saw that the flat iron was not giving flat iron. It was giving more like blow dry because my flat iron that I currently have is not the best quality flat iron. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. As a hairstylist, I usually would have better quality flat irons and tools. However, as y'all know, in the past, my tools got confiscated by a karmic. Let's go with that. By a karmic. We're just gonna call it that. All right. Why is this random notification at the bottom of the thing? It says, "Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines." Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. The word of the day. Okay, well, hold on. Today is day 197 of evolving into a starseed. Thank you guys for being a part of the community that it does want to evolve into a starseed. You know, a lot of us know that the evolution process is here. It has taken place, yes, already, but not in the way that we think. Some people think, oh, the raptures came. That means if I'm already going through something negative now, that means it's no hope in me getting anything better or stuff like that. And that's just completely false. Don't let anyone convince you of that, because the funny thing about the world is it's mental space that you live in, right? So you could be a person who is currently still figuring out your spiritual ascension, meaning like some people woke up 10 years ago, whereas other people woke up 2 years ago. You know, you can't judge your specific space and mind based on your current circumstances only. You have the ability to continue to keep on growing and populating new thoughts, meeting new people who have new uh, understandings, and you have stuff about your mind that you haven't even unlocked yet. So to believe that the journey is completely over, like I love all people that I've met on this journey, but I don't like when people tell people that you've already come to your ascension or the rapture's over. Like, we're all living on different timelines. If someone's aligned with you and you've met the end of your rapture, that's cool, but that doesn't mean that someone else has already been there, because there's some people who I've met where the timeline we're living in today is something that we should have completed 2 years ago, but we had to finally complete that for us to actually finally get to the point where I was at 2 years ago, so that the story makes sense, so that the other part of the story can finally take place, because the rest of the story couldn't take place unless the part that was supposed to happen 2 years ago happens. So again, a lot of the times people will tell you your journey's over, this is it for you, au revoir, you've been stuck behind in the past, you're left behind. It's like you have the ability to mold your mind every single day. Read something new, read a new book, get a new understanding, get your soul into a different community, a different collective. And if people truly are walking with God, they wouldn't stop, attempting to open the doors for you to get into any community, right? Because if God gives you the ability to forgive yourself every day, or higher source, most high, don't think for a second that that means that, one time I didn't know, you didn't understand something. Just like in school, you can retake the class, you can retake the grade, you can retake the level. Especially if you didn't master the level. What the heck? How are you going to get graded on something that you couldn't master? Anyway, So today is day 197. Today's date is the 17th, and the word of the day says, go with the flow. It says, brethren, for this reason, in spite of all our stress and crushing difficulties, we've been filled with comfort and cheer about you. Because of your faith, the leaning of your whole personality on God and complete trust and confidence. Thessalonians 3:7. Go with the flow and stop being anxious about things that may never happen. If you really trust God, you don't need a backup plan. Faith means that you have peace even when you don't have all the answers. Life will always be stressful if you constantly try to rearrange it. For example, getting upset in a traffic jam doesn't get you out of it any sooner. But planning for obstacles will inspire you to leave a little bit earlier for your appointments and keep you from hurrying. Grow in wisdom and place high priority on keeping your peace in spite of any jams you get into today. So that's proof right there. That's literally exactly what I'm saying. Like, I was on a live with someone last night, and I'm not going to say any names, but the person's like, yeah, the rapture already happened. Y'all left behind. Yeah, this is it. After today. And it's like, life still goes on. People still got to work jobs. That person still has a shop that they're attracting people to purchase products. It's never over until it's over. Okay? So don't let something, because a lot of spiritualists, they fearmonger you into following them. Like, I'm the only one with the keys to reality, and I'm the only one with the keys to life. And as much as I dually believe a lot of the things, like, I've seen a lot in my reality only change and transition when I do something. Like, every time I attempt to break up with someone, it thunderstorms outside. Or every time I, get a new relationship, the old relationship, because you're building worlds with people. So when you break up with one person, the world that you have with that person does sometimes fall apart, and then you build a new world with somebody else. That's a part of life, but at the same time, everyone else is also living in the reality too. So yes, you may be the woman that controls the weather, because they have shamans and orishas who do different things in the tribes back home, before we got over here in America. But that doesn't mean that there isn't still, the government officials making the laws to make sure everybody can conduct themselves accordingly. That doesn't mean that there isn't still, the mother group that, babysits the kids and only allows them to do said activities at this hour to this hour. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might have authority in one particular portion of the realm, but that doesn't mean that all things in the entire universe completely only bow and beckon to you. You're going to have a lot of control over a lot of things in your capacity. So you might be a sports person. Based on how you showed up in your game, you might end up being a person who sets a world record. So now everybody's trying to beat your record, or if you might be one of the best hairstylists, you might be the fastest. Someone's going to try to beat your record in your realm. But that doesn't mean that everything in the whole world revolves around you. That doesn't mean that you're the only one with the keys. So when it comes to understanding, yes, a lot of these stories and a lot of the spirituality, it all overlaps and it all starts to make sense, right? But not one of us people who are spiritual teachers or leaders has all the answers. There's a plethora of information that will overlap, that will allow you to understand that we're saying similar things, or a lot of the things we say are linked, right? Because I know when I had my spiritual journey, my first spiritual awakening, it's because I went to one particular person. Excuse me. And when I was hanging out with that particular person, spiritually letting that person spiritually guide me, they taught me how to fast. And that fasting got me to be a better rapper, a better poet, and get me more in tune with my spirit. But that wasn't the only person who was involved in my spiritual ascension. I also ended up dealing with another dude who was completely like on a toxic spectrum, but he still taught me things that the other guy who taught me how to fast and meditate didn't teach me. There was a point in time when I was with a female who was teaching me about the confidence in my diagnosis with my herpes. She taught me a lot of stuff about eating clean. She was also college certified and stuff like that. But she taught me stuff in my spiritual journey that The guy wasn't able to teach me about being confident in my herpes. He was making me feel ashamed about my herpes. Like, oh, what's that? Like, you know, when he speak about it, like, kind of like, it's that virus, that hemoth worm. But something about her, my spiritual journey, brought me into confidence. Like, this is me, and you still gonna like me with it, and because that's a part of my identity, not a part of my dossier, my spirit, but it's part of who my physical 3D body is. And those two things, mind, body, and spirit, all align. So again, you're not going to go to one spiritualist or one leader and learn every single lesson you need to learn for life. Please understand, you need to have multiple people guiding you on your spiritual journey. Don't just get wrapped up in one person, say, I'm the way, and if you don't go through me, then you gonna burn. You're going to have multiple teachers, just like you have an auntie that teaches you how to paint your nails, and you have an auntie that teaches you how to swing your hips. You have a mom that'll teach you how to wash the dishes, and you have a dad that'll teach you how to pitch a ball. On your spiritual journey, you're going to have multiple people. You're going to have a mom, you're going to have a grandma, you're going to have a spiritual family. You know, when you start jumping out of your own family dynamic and finding your spiritual family, it's going to be another family. You're going to have a new grandma, you know, like Queen Afua is like everybody's spiritual grandma, you know, for the women at least. You're going to have a new brother, her son, Supernova Salam. You're going to have a new sister, Lizzie, Jeff, Erica Badu. Sanaa Lathan is also a sacred woman. Lauren London is a sacred woman. You're going to have a family who's going to be your spiritual family, who's going to also, and they're going to come to you. You're not going to choose these people. These people will pop up on you on your spiritual journey. They will pull up on you because y'all's frequencies will align at that particular pivotal moment in your life, and y'all will align at that point for you to get that lesson. So understand, on the spiritual journey, it's not about who you want to learn from, it's about who the universe will send to you. So when you allow people to be sent your way, when you see different things pop up on your timeline, when you see different people pop up on your story, when you see different people pop up, period, that's the universe aligning you with who your new spiritual family is and will be, and where that spiritual family will take you based on your mission in this world. You might want to be a doctor because your parents told you to be a doctor, and doctors make a lot of money. But you might get pushed into holistic medicine because you might take a pill one day and it causes you to have an anaphylactic reaction. And now you don't want to be a doctor because you see that big pharma makes you take medicine that could potentially kill you. And you want to do everything the natural herbal way. You're going to find people on your journey who are going to then guide you, meaning you're going to find a herbalist. So you might find someone like, what's his name? Herbs. I forgot. Smile. Oh God, what is his name? Herb Doctor. You might find him. He might pop up on your timeline. You might find some Dr. Sabi information. You might start finding Yada Awakenings information. These are names that really are, if you go through this video and you want to Google these people or search them up on Instagram, they all have platforms that are currently populated, very much popular, hundreds of thousands of followers. This is not no hogwash. But these are people who I found on my journey that got me where I'm at. Where now I know I don't eat meat. I haven't ate meat in over 3 years. I rarely have herpes outbreaks. Only time I have herpes outbreaks is when I get around people who are stressful or people who mean me no good. Like last night, I went to sleep randomly and fell asleep, but I found that I started like having an outbreak on the inside of my mouth. But also, I was in someone's energy. I don't know whose energy it was. But like every time I said something, I would just randomly bite the inside of my mouth. I'm like, who is doing this? And I kept feeling like someone was messing with my energy in my jawline. I felt like something was really something was stuck in my trigeminal nerve. And again, people will say, oh, you're just going crazy. No one's throwing spell work at you. No one's messing with your energy like that. No one cares about you that much. Again, on this spiritual journey, you don't know what you're going to end up going through in order to have a testimony for other people to learn from. I'm a single mother who's gone through some of the worst spiritual attacks. And it wasn't only from people who were jealous of me. It was from family members who were also jealous, or just, I don't know, maybe they were told that they were going to get some money if they teamed up against me. I don't know. People really had it out for me in my family and were doing bad things to me. And I didn't even know about spiritual manipulation back then. That's why I had to go on my spiritual journey at the rate that I did. Because if I probably would have had a spiritual awakening as a kid and seen all this, I probably wouldn't have made it to being this old. I might have unalived myself. Had I known that all these people in my family were teaming up like this against me, The day I had my spiritual awakening, I was like, I thought that I died, y'all. And if you know, you know when it comes to the spiritual awakening. It's like, I really thought that I died. I'm like, oh my God, I'm dead. Oh my God, what does this mean? Oh my God, like, but at the same time, I was still calm in my room because I had my son. I had to keep my shit together. But then I called my mom, like, what does it mean? Like, it feels like I died. I don't know. And like, have you mind, these people have all gone through their spiritual ascension already. They've already gone through it. They've already experienced it. But when it came to me, they're like, oh, we just gonna put you in a psych ward. But they didn't tell me this. They told my son behind my back, we're gonna call some people to come take your mom, and we're gonna take you and give you to your uncle. That's what happened the day of my spiritual awakening. And I was 28, 29 years old at the time. This was all after I did some fasting, and it was like right after Christmas. I went to Christmas, everything was fine, but I was like, oh, after Christmas, I need to go into the New Year fasting. You know, my friend that told me how to juice and fast. I don't have enough money for. I think I didn't have food stamps at the time, so I just did a water fast. So I was doing a water fast from Christmas all the way until New Year's. So when New Year's came on the 6th day of January, my spiritual awakening happened, and then yeah, I got scared. But my family wasn't there to support me. The first thing they told my son they was going to get people to come take me to a crazy house, and they was going to get him taken away from me and give him to my brother. That's how my spiritual awakening went. And for years, I fought them trying to do that to me. For years. They kept threatening, you need to go to the crazy house. You need to go to crazy. Like, they kept threatening me. Like, you need to go there. You need to go there. You're delusional. You're delusional. And then they would even tell people who were attached to me, or I feel like they would pay people or something, because people would start coming to me like, yeah, you're delusional. You're delusional. Like, the last dude I dated, he kept trying to paint it in my head that I'm delusional about being spiritual. I'm like, dude, I see what you doing, so I know you spiritual. I know, because I'm looking at what you're doing, and I know that you're spiritual. I know you have spiritual knowledge. I know that you have occult knowledge based on what I'm watching you do, because I can see you in spirit. My third eye is open as a bitch. I can see what the fuck you're doing to me and others around you. So for you to lie to me and tell me that you're not spiritual, and then try to call me delusional about my spiritual experience and journey, was in fact delusional on your end. So again, in your spiritual journey, you're going to come across people, places, and things that will test you and put you to the test and really get you in this space where you're like, oh my God, is this really happening? But you have to get to a certain mental maturity level, because God's not going to give you what you can't handle at certain levels. So God knew that I was going to be able to handle a man like this at this point in my life, based on what he's already taught me spiritually over the last 5 years. That's why I was able to handle this relationship. See, I was supposed to really have this relationship 2 years ago, before this person had went out of town and went down to whatever state they went to when they went on their spiritual journey. But God paused it and just said, let me go ahead and take him on his trip down here. Y'all gonna have this relationship when you're ready to deal with him, because he's already spiritual, lo and behold. But I'm gonna need you also to go through some things first before you deal with this particular beast. Because if you deal with it 2 years ago, if I would have dealt with it, I might not have made it back out of the relationship. I might have got buried underneath the whole entire galaxy of his brain cells and everything else. I would have got stuck underneath that. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, because the stuff that I didn't know a lot of this stuff until I had to go spend 6 months at my mom's house outside, like after I lost my apartment. And the only reason I lost my apartment was because of my family. They forced me into it. Oh, don't go to court and fight the case. Just come live with me. Just take the easy route out. Which taught me a lot about spirituality right there. Never take the easy route out. Always fight the fight. Always stand on business about your soul and things that you want to get accomplished in this universe. Never take the easy route. Never allow someone else to tell you, oh, it's not worth fighting. It's not worth taking to court. It's not worth, don't put the energy into it. Never let anyone tell you that, because what I did when I did that, that's how I ended up living in this car, allowing people to convince me that what I found valuable in my spiritual journey was not worth fighting for. Don't let anyone tell you what you believe is not worth fighting for. God gave you a certain set of morals and beliefs within your mind that allowed you to understand certain things about this universe. Your perspective is important. Just like when it comes to a diamond, each angle on that diamond, each cut on that diamond creates a certain reflection. You asking dumb questions. I'm about to go ahead and just remove you. Even a diamond, each particular cut in that diamond, in that jewel, gives you a different glimmer when you look at the diamond. When you look at the jewel, like, let me show y'all something. This is what I mean by this. Let me see if I can get this off of here. I got all these necklaces and stuff up here. So you see, this is a raw, uncut crystal. This is black tourmaline, right? It's unpolished, but it still is beautiful. Even so, this could be you before your spiritual journey. You're uncut, you're unpolished, but you're still beautiful. Nothing wrong with that. You can still be decorated. But then you have this beautifully polished piece of labradorite. You see how beautiful it looks, how opalescent it looks, all the luminescence in it. And oh my God, look at it from all the angles. It's been polished so beautifully. Every single cut in this crystal made it shine bright for you to see and enjoy. So your perspective is very important in this whole and connected spiritual world. Whatever you perceive about spirituality. So see, I'm spiritual, but I still incorporate Christianity, Buddhism, Judaism, Hinduism, Comedics, what else? Islam. I incorporate every single religion into my understanding of spirituality because I see that you can't just go with one. That's what my point. That's not the point that I'm making about the crystal, baby. I'm making the point that every time you polish a crystal or every single whatever and the point of the whole entire thing is this. It makes it beautiful. Your perspective makes this world beautiful. So if you sitting here listening to me talk about spirituality and you worried about what I meant when I said how the crystal is cut, you're not even meant to be in this conversation. You missing the whole point of the conversation. But I'm still polite enough to break it down so you get like, oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, like we talking about something else. My bad. Like, yeah, let's listen to the message. The message is your point of view is still important to the whole spectrum of this crystal that is Earth. It's a crystal that is spirituality. So however you view spirituality is important because your understanding might be in alignment with someone who needs to be right next to you based on the 6 degrees of separation. Someone who needs to be on your side of the diamond might need to hear your perspective so that they don't believe that they're going crazy, so that they can still thrive in this universe, so that those perspectives can thrive, so that the people who also believe like y'all can then populate, and in y'all's space is now created here on Earth for y'all to feel comfortable, because everyone here deserves to be comfortable. Everyone here deserves to be catered to. Everyone here deserves to have something relative to them. Of course, within good reason, if you're doing right. But even the people who bad, because if we didn't have people who were being bad, there'd be no point in being good. So even the bad people need to have a safe haven. That's why we have music that says, fuck a nigga up, kill a nigga, stab him in the guts, run a bitch up, running money up to the ceiling. All that, because people who live and think like that need to have a place to feel comfortable so that the people who are good can feel good, and the people who believe that them goody two shoes are good. You get what I'm saying? It needs to be balanced. That's what Buddhism, people, y'all leaving behind that, right? But Buddhism will let you know that there's no such thing as good and evil. It's called balance, because if there was no shadow, there'd be no light. But that's a part of spirituality a lot of people aren't ready to handle. That part of the conversation. That if there was no shadow, there'd be no light. That's where a lot of people get lost when it comes to religion. If you didn't have a shadow version of yourself, there'd be no light version of yourself. That's not balance, it's just indecisive. Well, honey, let me listen to you this. When you woke up this morning, right? You saw that your bed sheet was what color? Let's just go with your bed sheets was blue. Your bed sheets was blue, your comforter was black, and your walls is white. If there's no contrast between colors, you would just see one blob. You'd see everything would be crystal clear. You need to have different perspectives and different contrasts and different indecisive, disagreeing vibrations in order for the whole spectrum of the rainbow to exist. You need to have bad people so that the police have something to do all day. If there was nobody bad, what would the police do all day? You get what I'm saying? They still be hunting down black people out of racism because of the color contrast. If there was no color contrast, what would be our self-righteous? Everybody, we want reparations now. What would be the point of trying to get reparations if there was never an issue about color? You understand how this works? Like, if there was never an issue about the different vibrations and the different frequencies and the different variables and the different varieties of humankind, there'd be no point in being alive. If there was no black people versus white people, no white people versus black people, at some point in time, there would be no point. If there weren't people who were actually evil as fuck, there would be no people who were good, because what would be the comparison? What would you have to compare the good people to if there was no people who were bad? What would you have to compare the failure in school to the valedictorian if no one actually failed school? If everyone was valedictorians, there would be no valedictorian. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Oh, thank you. You have a good day too. But if everybody was valedictorians and everybody was perfect, we would look like gingerbread men. We'd all be the same. There has to be somebody who's a slight fuck up. There has to be a few people who are only level C students. There has to be a few people who are only level B students. I have a job, thank you very much. And I have a whole entire pension, 401k, and life insurance for me and my child. And yeah, you can go ahead and mind your business. But if you want to, I can definitely escort you out the room. Okay. That's still low frequency. How is that low frequency? There would be no variables in frequency if there were no low frequencies. It would just be one frequency. There's a reason why God made us different. The world don't need that. Then why does it exist then if the world doesn't need it? Why are you even here on my page disagreeing with me if what I'm saying isn't true? You need to have a different perspective from me for me to be proving something right versus you also proving something right. That's the point of the whole entire, that's the point of living. It has to be disagreeables. It has to be, because if everything was in agreement and alignment, it would just be one color. It would be white. It'd be clear. It'd be nothing. It'd be done. It'd be over with. There has to be some kind of disagreeable. There has to be some kind of difference in frequency. There's a reason why you turn on the radio and you can only go to 95.5 and hear this. But if you go off one little slight frequency, you might get 95.4 and you hear all static. But if you go to 93.9, you hear something else, which is hip hop and R&B. But you go to 92Q and you can't hear every single person on the radio on one station. There has to be multiple frequencies in order for things to exist so that everyone has their comfort place. If you don't understand that concept, then you've missed the whole entire point of school. There's people who, the car just started up. Y'all see the energy. So there's people who have hybrid cars. They believe in electric cars, but they still want to trust in gasoline, because to trust that electricity be the only way I get around, and then the fact that we can have a power grid shut off and the electricity in my car might not work, is scary for a lot of people. And it will happen. I can see the future. It will happen. Don't get an electric car. Just letting you know, don't get an electric car. When everybody catches up to the same timeline, you don't want to have an electric car. But I'm just putting that out there. That's why they're pushing them so hard right now, to get you stuck. Anyway, Some people still trust in having gas. Most people who are old timers, they only believe in cash. Whereas some people who are old, who still uses cash. I use cryptocurrency and digital wallets. But if I go to the laundromat, oh no, honey, we don't have Apple Pay, only physical card. Yeah, only physical. Different realms create different, different realms slash frequencies create different comfort levels for certain people who want to still have some kind of something hinging them into their comfort. Meaning some people don't want to go completely digital because then they be like, oh, does that mean that I'm turning into a robot? Like some people's minds can't understand the capacity of everything becoming digital and electric around them. Meaning we log in, because even the rich, let's go with even the rich. No, this is my hair. What are you talking about? But it's just, I didn't roll it the right way on this side. I just learned how to do the sock roll thing. This is my hair. It's definitely all mine. I just cut it yesterday. Oh, you saw me with locks before. This is my hair though. This is me. But thank you. Appreciate that. So what was I saying? Almost lost my train of thought. So to hook me back into life, right? I want something that's gonna keep me stable. So for me, right, as a hairstylist, I like using my clippers. I like using my shears. I like certain waves, like certain products, certain brands, stuff like that. You come in here talking something, okay, we're going to digitalize everything. So what does that mean for me? I'm great, thank you. You can't get cash tips no more. So that means your tips are only online. So I have a card in my phone right now that I get tipped on. People who tip on their credit card, they tip. And I'll get back to the comment about the rich people. I know, I'm like, wait, what happened? So this is why I'm saying this. The rich people, they can use their watches and they tap and they like, I can just tip you on a card, right? Cool. But if the system shuts down and I got $150 in tips on my phone, and I'm trying to use my money and I don't have no cash and all the systems break down, everything glitches, and they're like, you can't buy nothing, the whole system's down. I got cash. Don't you have cash? Here's $3. Get a calculator real quick, do the mental math, do decimals. That's why we learned it in school back in the day, but they stopped teaching us that kind of math because they feel like it's not going to be important anymore. But if the world should shut down and I got $3 and you did that's $2.50, you need to know to give me back 50 cents. And if you got the change, just give me, so I can get here, I'm paying for it. Just put it in the system later. So some people don't want to give up certain frequencies to move into other frequencies because it's too volatile. To only have cryptocurrency and have no cash money, that means one day they could say Dogecoin is worth $2.5 billion and Bitcoin is worth $300,000 per one Bitcoin. But then tomorrow we wake up and Bitcoin's only worth 1 penny. They can really fuck us up if we just give in to certain frequencies. That's why people don't want to just give in to the frequency shift. It's already happened in different dimensions. Some people already live there because there are people who only live with cryptocurrency. There are people who only forge cryptocurrency and they only live in the space of that kind of commerce. But it's people like, the older people who are not ready to give up this. Because it's like, if I do that, y'all could say anything. Y'all could do anything whenever y'all want to. And I don't want that for me. With good reason. I don't blame them. Because like I said, when the grid shut off, which has happened already, but they keep on trying to push stuff back into the future. I'm just telling you, it already happened. We already went there. I lived there. I did something. I remember it was me and my son in the house meditating by myself, and the whole entire, all the cell phone towers went down. My phone didn't go out, but everybody else's did. It was a whole entire citywide panic. It's like, y'all. That's when they started taking away my apartment and everything. Because they start seeing, hold on, all this stuff happening, it's not happening to you. People start watching my YouTube channel and stuff. It's like, so that's when they start, my family was like, we can't support you going to court. It already happened. It's just people keep trying to push us back into the past. The grid already fell down. People already done passed away. They just holding on. They keep transferring sexual energy to stay here. That's why over-sexualized. That's why all the music got ass shaking and titties in it, because if you keep sharing your sexual energy with somebody else, you can give your life force away. You leave a concert and wonder why your whole gut right here is hurting, but Beyonce on stage got a whole entire daggone emblem covering up her solar plexus. But you just freely at the concert and everybody just coming all through your solar plexus, just siphoning your energy out of you. Your coochie just all leaking and vibrating for everybody else to just take all the juice. You just need to flow freely like a waterfall and let us all dive in and eat from your garden. No, that's not my job to feed y'all my sexual energy. Y'all are a part of the past. Y'all are particles that are, it's like my dead skin, right? It's like I'm exfoliating my skin. And the dead skin cells don't want to fall off. So I just got like 3 layers of dead skin just sitting there. And I keep on exfoliating, but because I'm transferring a certain kind of energy, like I keep putting lotion on top of it to moisturize it, it won't fully dry up and fall off, because I keep putting extra lotion on that area instead of scrubbing it harder. That's what's going on with society. We keep putting more lotion on a dry ass area instead of letting dead shit fall off. It's people who's supposed to have been gone when COVID came. All the people all the people who were old, and their frequency wasn't increasing, so they had to get the COVID shot. COVID shot just simply had what in it, y'all? What did the COVID shot have in it? Nanobots. What can you do with nanobots? Program them and increase what? The frequency and the vibration of the body. Because if the nanobots latch themselves onto your vital organs, which I'm pretty sure they do, you can increase the frequency of certain areas of your body by programming these nanobots. That's why you had to keep getting boosters and upgrades. The rapture already happened. So everyone who's walking around unvaccinated from COVID, who's not eating meat, who's naturally upgraded their body by going through things like fasting, eating appropriately, they're on course. They're supposed to be here. That's why we want to be outside meditating and being free in the grass. But people keep saying, you need to get a job. Yeah, let's take away her apartment and her business and make her live in a car. She's going to conform and get that job finally. Oh, they don't hear me talking now. What's up, y'all? The people who are supposed to be here are supposed to be here. That's why we like being out. Oh, that sun's too hot for me. It's burning my eyes. I want to keep the house dark. Sound like a vampire to me. I love my family to death, but you sound like a vampire. I come into the house and I'm opening up the blinds. I'm like, you need some sunlight in here. As soon as I do that, oh, my eyes, that sun is just so hot, it's drying out my nose. The sun is supposed to be hot. It's summertime. It feels good. What are you talking about? I got a tan. Like, the sun is too hot for people who were not supposed to be here. The sun is too hot for people who are not supposed to be here. The frequency of the planet has already increased. It's already happened. They keep trying to slow it down by draining chosen ones' sacred sexual energy. That's why everybody's telling you to protect your energy. That's why everybody else is telling you, come on, just vibe it out with us. And you leaving the party feeling all drained, and everybody else is like, yeah, we're back. Woohoo, that was good. Yeah, woo. Thank you so much or you getting invited to all these events. Why you think you getting invited to these events? What you got that all these people just randomly inviting you? Think about it. Like how this person sitting in their car, they just pulled up, they still sitting in their car. And as soon as they come, I start feeling all this extra vibration in my vagina. They feeding off the sexual energy. Get out of here, you fucking creep, Quito, bitch ass nigga. I didn't tell you yes. I don't know you. These people are feeding off your energy through your solar plexus and your sacral chakra and your root chakra and all of your 6 Kabbalion points that are underneath your body that go into the ground, your roots. They're feeding off of your energy. But telling you there's something wrong with you. But telling you to get a job. But they need you more than you need that job. The only reason you need that job is because of the system that they set up, because of the game that they keep putting us in every day, pinning us against each other. I just spoke about how there's different frequencies, and just like the rainbow has different frequencies. Red is the slowest vibrating color, your first chakra, your root chakra. And then purple is the highest vibrational chakra, the sun, ultraviolet rays, because the only way is up. You have infrared hair technology so that you don't burn your hair. You have ultraviolet waves that you put on sunscreen to protect yourself from the sun so that you don't burn if you can't stand the frequency of the sun. Hold on. If you can't stand the frequency of the sun that gives everything on this planet life, what that mean about you? If you can't receive the energy from the source that brings everything, like the plants life, the trees not burning up, the grass not burning up. The grass and the trees don't need sunscreen. The grass and the trees didn't need a COVID vaccine to survive. So if there are people who are thriving in nature, meanwhile, there are people who are complaining about people being in nature and they need to have sunscreen and vaccinations and all this big pharma bullshit. Don't you think that that means that they are actually uninhabitable to this planet, so they shouldn't be the ones making the rules of the planet that they exist on? Maybe they are the vaccine. Maybe they're the virus. And I'm not trying to be racist, because not all white people burn in the sun. Some black people burn in the sun too. Because it's not about race. It's about your frequency. It's about your ability to tap in and drink that water and do that fast and give up things that are vile for your body, like alcohol that kills your liver, like smoking weed that kills your lungs, like consuming certain stuff on the internet that kills your brain cells and makes you stop using your brain to function. My son used to watch a lot of ASMR videos. ASMR at one point in time was the most researched and most searched pornography in the Maryland area, right? Because if your mind wasn't set up right, when you listen to ASMR, it makes your private parts feel weird. You hear somebody eating food, the first thing you think about is your vagina and your hoo-ha and your wing making noises. But if you was like my son, he's like, I like it because it makes my brain tickle. He was already here before COVID happened. He was using his brain. His brain was vibrating. He wasn't down here like everybody else. They made him be like this. My mom took my son away from me a year ago and left him in the house with them. They forced him to start using his energy. I have videos in my phone of my son sleeping and him randomly getting erections. He didn't start having wet dreams until he lived with my mother. I had wet dreams as a kid when I lived with my mother. When I stopped living with her, they stopped happening. As soon as I moved back in a year ago, I started having them same dreams I used to have as a kid. Because your energy is being harvested at night between the hours of 3 and 4 o'clock during the known witching hours. That's when you start having dreams about sex. So if you're having dreams that are sexual and stuff like that, you need to go ahead and do a cleanse, because you're not supposed to be dreaming like that, especially if you're not sleeping next to your partner. That's a succubus or incubus spirit on you that's using your sexual energy to harvest your life force, to bring them a beauty spell. It's making them look beautiful again. You see how my bag just went away when I started talking that shit? Thank you, John. You see how my bags, they not here no more? I just had a bag right there. That's because I had a spirit that was feeding, or I felt it. It was on my sacral chakra. It was family. I know who was what and what is who now. They was here trying to be up in my energy and feast, but I'm like, no, I'm pointing y'all out now. It's time for y'all to stop that, because you don't have to have how to get a girlfriend. We're gonna talk about that later. You don't have to have sexual energy transfer all the time. It's a mind thing. We live in our minds. Use your brain. Your pineal gland should be moving. 333, yeah. Your brain. That's why you're supposed to come up your spinal cord and rise your kundalini. You're not supposed to be in your sexual energy all the time. It's not supposed to always be a vibe. That's how you get siphoned. Then you start looking old in the face. People around you just always want to come around you. You're such a vibe, you know. You're such a party starter. No, stop giving them people your sexual energy. Stop allowing people to touch your soul. When you get around people and you start feeling this right here, somebody is harvesting your solar plexus. This is your willpower. Your ability to say, nah, I'm not doing that. Versus when it's weak, I mean, I guess it's okay. You start hunching over, I guess it's okay. I guess. Versus, nah, I'm not going for that. What you mean? We ain't doing that. Heck no. Nah. Bring my son over here. We ain't, nah, man. That's why when the father comes over and says something, the children listen, because the fathers always have to have a strong solar plexus. To be a man, that's why everybody want to get a six-pack. You got to have a solar plexus that's strong. You have to engage that energy center to assert yourself. And the kids listen, because as soon as you feel somebody say, nah, and it hits you straight in your solar plexus, it feels different than somebody saying, I mean, sure, which is supposed to be more feminine, because you're supposed to be behind your man and be soft anyway. But that's why they have people like Joan of Arc and Shiva and all that who also have six packs, because just because you're a woman don't mean you're supposed to be soft spoken and just say yes to anything. You're supposed to have willpower too. I was always that girl until I got around my mom, and I could understand why when I lived with her I started feeling my solar plexus was dysregulated, because they know how to siphon that energy. I love my mama to death, but all yesterday she didn't speak to me. I called my mother early in the day. I said, can I do laundry at your house? She said, she didn't answer me. I had to drive all the way to her house in Bowie from Silver Spring, Maryland, go pick up my stuff. It started getting dark outside, started raining and stuff. I ended up doing all my laundry on my own time, buying my own detergent, getting softener, all that, fabric softener sheets, going to the laundromat, blah blah blah. I sat at my grandmother's house. I flat ironed my hair, and I trimmed my hair, and I felt like I was getting. My grandmother kept texting. I knew she was texting her, because she's feeling. Oh, I'm feeling so sick right now. I'm like, you feeling the energy shift? You don't realize that the energy shift. That's why y'all can't sit next to me. That's why y'all can't fuck with me. That's why my whole family got me out here homeless for the last 7 months. Because when they're in my presence, I rise not their demons, but I let them know that their frequency is not stable. I let them know that the frequency that they live in is not the true God-given primordial, as we would say, frequency. How does siphoning the energy work? How do they get access? You got to understand the Kabbalion system. You have to understand all energy. Like, okay, y'all remember how I showed y'all do I still have it? I think I threw it in the trash. Remember how I showed y'all all the planets? Because my mother also works for some company that's kind of associated with NASA. So when you understand the planetary alignments and astrology, what can they do? Why can they do that? How do you protect? I mean, they all have a vaccination, and they all are locked into a system where they have energy bots, and they have little nanobots in their body. So they're able to do a little bit something different than what the natural way of doing it is. Naturally, if you are natural, that stuff don't affect you. That's why everybody, in order to get your job back, you have to get the vaccination, so that when you go into these stores, now they have these nanobots attached to their body. So when you walk into the store, that's why you immediately feel like, phew, something hits you upside the head and knocks your spirit down. You feel weak in the stomach. Then by the time you leave and you feeling drained, you feeling tired like them, you feeling sexually aroused or something like that when you in these stores, because they had to get the vaccination in order to get their jobs back. So they were told. They really didn't have to, because there was actually a law that eventually was figured out that people finally was like, oh, I don't have to get vaccination. Okay, well, I'm not going to. And I'm bringing you the paperwork to show you that I know that I don't have to. So that's why certain people at the job aren't vaccinated and certain people are. They were trying to make the shift and stop the change and stop the actual increase of the frequency of the planet during COVID. That's what COVID was all about. It was the attempt to stop people who couldn't make it naturally into the new world from not making it. That's why people was dying in the hospitals left and right. People who didn't seem valuable, people who still had morals and still had good hearts. You know, your good don't visit your family members. Don't visit your family members. You can't come see them. The good ones. The grandmas and grandpas that you wish would have, because they probably would have made it. Because they had pure intentions. That's why you can still speak to them in spirit. But these new people, the ones who got the vaccination, they got the upgrades. As my grandfather kept saying, I remember I went to the museum with him. I heard him say, he's like, yeah, you can get rid of this problem. All you got to do is pay for it. You just got to have money. Then people, they start saying, if you sell your identity to us and make a robot, we'll give you like $250,000 or something like that. Y'all remember that? But they was telling people they could sell their likeness and get a robot made after them for about $1 million. Y'all put it together, because if I said anything that wasn't true, point it out. What does that have to do with anything that I'm talking about? People got shot 6 times and they said it was COVID, like the bullets had nothing to do. I'm sorry, what does that have to do with what I'm talking about, though? If somebody got shot 6 times and they still here and they didn't get the COVID vaccine, then they're a primordial being. They've already reached their immortality level. They've reached the highest frequency. They're good. But if they got the COVID vaccination because they were starting to feel weak around COVID, they weren't supposed to make it into this next version of, it's supposed to be heaven on earth right now. That's what it's really supposed to be. It's supposed to be heaven on earth right now. But then people who still stuck in that red, white, and blue mentality, that COVID vaccination mentality. They're not supposed to be here anymore. People who had to get the vaccination to feel like they weren't getting sick, like they were getting left behind. Oh, yeah, then there were people who were dying and they were saying something about it was COVID or something like that. Like they were lying in the funeral homes, forging stuff, saying, oh, this person passed away from this, that, and the third, but really it had nothing to do with, yeah, I remember that. There was a few families like that who lost a few people who had passed away with nothing to do with COVID. You got to explain it to me. I got to stay on point with my thoughts, but also get this point across and be passionate about it. Because if I lose my willpower in this, because I'm already feeling it's a bunch of spirits and energies that's coming up in my vessel. Like, it's these white people keep pulling them to the gas station. They trying to attach, they feel the energy. They like, oh, wait a minute. She's telling our truth and actually getting popular behind it. Most people will tell you this shit and it's like, oh, she's crazy. I ain't trying to listen to this shit. It's like all these people come to this gas station like, I know damn well y'all with these nice ass cars ain't supposed to be coming to no damn Liberty something gas station. The gas ain't even cheap over here. But it's in an area that got a Starbucks and a Trader Joe's, so you already know who's over here. And I'm not racist. I love white people. But it's like, this is a very Hasidic Jewish neighborhood. No, because I was like, what are you talking about? I did say, I'm like, what are you talking about? What does 6 shots have to do with anything? I do have a way with my words, because I have strong willpower. I'm like straight up like, what do you mean? Can you elaborate a bit more on leaky energy? What do you mean? Leaky? Because, how about this? Aaron, what's up, Aaron? What's up, North Carolina? Everybody, tap in and tell me where y'all can tapping in from. What's up, Ashley? I'm a white people, but if I pulled at a gas station, I wish I could pull out this weekend. Sorry. So, leaky energy, right? A lot of us are still learning how to work our Kundalini. So I had a Kundalini rising with a gentleman. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. And me and him, we did the dance with the snakes. We did it. We did the snake dance. It's when two spirits are aligning itself and they get wrapped up in each other and they ascend to a higher dimension together. We did that. But he was not trying to be with me because he was an internet popular person and I'm a girl with herpes. We did it. It happened. I was my eyes was closed. It felt like my whole room was spinning. The song that came on, lift me up, hold me down, give me peace, safe and sound, burning in a hopeless dream, hold me when you go to sleep. And the song had just came off. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Otoroa? Hopefully I said that right. Correct me, please. But the song had just came out, and we just so happened to do our Kundalini Rising the same day that song had just came out. And that song, I've been wanting to listen to it, and it came on my Google thing. Like as soon as this room starts spinning around, and I'm feeling like I feel like I'm literally coming out of my body, like I'm dying. I don't know what the fuck the feeling was. I'm like, what is this? Because I was holding my breath. The dude was like, okay, come on, a little bit longer, stick with me. And then we started doing it. He messaged me the next morning. He said, that was some fire-ass breath work last night. We already did the fucking dance. We did the shit, right? So usually when you do that, you're supposed to be locked in with that person for life. That's like essentially that spiritual marriage. That's supposed to be my husband. But when it happened, I'm like, oh, my son, what does this mean about my kid? Because usually you're supposed to do this with a person before you have kids so that y'all kids or y'all spirit spawn. So everybody's on the same frequency and it's all sacred. But I had a kid with someone else and then did this with someone else while my kid was in the other room. So when I thought about my son, it kind of stopped the whole entire spin. So I've been wanting to talk to this guy about this and what this means and what his perception of the whole situation was for years. But everything in the universe keeps blocking us from talking. I went down to Georgia to go talk to him. Some dude that I was dating that fucking hated my guts and stole all my salon stuff. The reason why my flat iron did this to my hair, he stole all my good shit for his new girlfriend to have at her salon. She still probably got my shit at her salon. My chair, my tools, my $700 Hattori Hanzo shears, all my shit. He follows me down to Georgia. I'm like, you don't even fuck with me. You made sure all my shit was stolen. Why the fuck are you still around me, bro? Why do you still come into my energy field? Why are you still attached to my family? Why is your soul still attached to my son? Why haven't you found a new life that has nothing to do with me? I can't help it. I got that thing on me, you know what I'm saying? God said. But anyway, I'm like, why you don't leave me alone? I believe so. I probably was, Maori. Oh, I pronounced it right. Hey, I kept hearing about the Maori people, and then the Maori people, the way that they like, and the way that their hands go is follows the Kabbalion system, where it's like you cross at the solar plexus to keep the solar plexus safe. So the Maori people, they very strong because they know how to protect the solar plexus because they crossed. Anyway, it's all relative. And I felt that resonate in my body really deeply. So I probably was. I just felt that. Y'all felt that? I felt that. That felt really good. That felt like spirit was like, yes, confirmed. But I did this sacred spiritual dance with this person and I stopped it. So when it comes to leaky energy, if you're not with the person that you're supposed to be with and y'all spirit body is not connected, it creates spiritual holes because now you're ripping apart one soul and putting them in two different areas when you've already did the spiritual marriage. You've already done it. It's already been done. Even when I had the ability to look into people's pineal glands and read their mind, I looked into it. He said, wife. I'm like, okay, so then, or are you saying that you already have a wife or you look at me as your wife? I don't know, but what I saw was what I saw. Okay, I'm not being delusional. This is what happened. This is what I saw. People looking at me like, oh, you trying to talk to my man. Oh, she's just a crazy ass stalker bitch. No, I'm not. I'm spiritually connected to a person who I haven't had the chance to meet in person yet. Because every time I try to, something happens. That dance is invoking ancestors, pulling them down from the skies into our bodies for protection and strength, which is something that the US of A knows nothing about. And the reason that they don't want us to know about it, because it would really, it would hijack the whole system and break it down. There would be no US of A system. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just remove you from the room. You're going to be in timeout for the next 24 hours because, well, just said I'm mixed with the devil and the devil, child. All right, so let's rebalance. So we did that and that happened, but maybe because that person's name was Chris too, the person I'm talking about. So maybe there's something in that where that person, he feels unworthy of being in my presence because he thinks, oh, you really, because some person said, I had a dream that you were an angel, but you were dressed in all black and you came out of the sky, talking to him on a live. And I'm like, well, he was all dressed in all black. Angels ain't supposed to be dressed in all black. Hold on now. What the fuck that mean? I'm great. Hey, Ricky. Okay. Hopefully y'all are not bots or spies. Because we having a truly spiritual conversation. I don't want nobody in here that's going to be sitting here trying to, don't even matter, whatever. Don't care. So we did the sacred spiritual dance. We did the Kundalini dance, and the spirits is connected. Your spirit leaks when you don't have your soulmate next to you. Hold on, y'all. Because this gas station is all up in my shit. When you don't have your spirit or your match protecting you and keeping you balanced, your energy leaks to other places and people and things, because your masculine energy is supposed to be a shell and you're supposed to be soft inside of that shell. If you find yourself, oh look, there goes a red cardinal now. When you find yourself outside of that shell and you're over other places that you don't belong, your energy tends to leak into places and you start to give life to things that don't matter. So again, when it comes to the relationship I just left, in my dream space, I was with the guy that I'm just speaking about, that I did the dance with already, right? I was with that guy, but the storyline was the storyline of the person who I just was with. It's the craziest thing. It's like I was cleaning up his dirty room and spraying air freshener, and the guy just left. His room was so fucking disgusting and dirty. I had to go in there and clean up everything, like food under the bed, all kinds of nasty shit, and spray air freshener. I'm like, I just had a dream with the other dude where I did this in his house, and he wasn't trying to let me in, and he spoke to my son, and they tried to have a conversation about, you know, us coming together, and we like went through this other door, and our ancestors had to approve of our relationship, right? So it was a very strange experience because it's like I'm seeing this guy's face, but it's this guy's story, and I'm currently in this guy's story. So it seems like I had to get through the level with this guy to understand my spirit on another dimension to maybe possibly finally go back to the guy who I already did the dance with. But still, life is still like, you sure you ready? You sure you ready? You sure you ready? You sure you ready? But he said on me, when we talked on the phone that one time, he said, you know, whenever you're ready to let everything go, I'm here and I'm ready. So I'm like, does that mean I gotta let go of my son too? Because like, you got a son, I got a son, like we got children that we had with other people. Does that mean we gotta let our kids go? Like, it's for our spirits to ascend. Does that mean that we have to like? So that's the part that got me sort of in fear, but not in fear, because when I think about my son's frequency, it matches the higher frequency. Let me get up out of here, because it's trash can over here, and these people, when they be taking out the trash, they be siphoning energy hella. All right, let's get up out of here. It's throwing me off, because my whole body just felt from the waist down. I don't like how I feel. Ugh. Yep, as soon as, look, and it was because I was over there. As soon as I moved from over there, now my body feel better. I was sitting in that car at the gas station for the last 30 minutes listening to us. Okay. How many children do you have? I only have one son, and he's 13. So again, when it comes to the spiritual, one has to understand and know that you have to understand and know. You can't believe, because to believe is to, like, we believe that there was a Jesus. We believe that there was a Buddha. We believe that our spirits can do certain stuff if we haven't already experienced it. But to know your spirit can do something, but to know you can astral project, but to know is different. What do you mean I need Jesus? I was raised in a Catholic household. Go sit down. You need to mind your business. To tell somebody else they need Jesus is needing Jesus, in fact. You're not here to judge. You're here to observe. And if it isn't the food that you need for your spirit today, you're very much welcome to go to another table and eat somewhere else. You do not have to sit here and spiritually eat with me at all. Okay? You do not have to be here at the table. You can definitely go to another table and find another delicious meal to eat that serves your soul. So if you don't like what we're serving here at this table, you can leave. See you later. Have a good day. I hope you enjoy. Nah, Game Master, you gotta roll out, because every time you keep coming over here, I start feeling like somebody's trying to penetrate my insides. I don't like that, because I'm not here for no spiritual sex. Have some fucking couth about yourself and learn that we're not vibrating down there or down below. We're not doing that. We're up here. So if you're sitting at the wrong table, by all means, you're very welcome to leave and go to another table. Okay? You are very much welcome to go to another table. Okay? I love you. All right, so let's go ahead and finish. I'm about to. I really just wanted to drive somewhere else and sit down somewhere else, but ain't nowhere that's really gonna have too much stillness and no motion around here. Just want to hug your face, and you and the rest of the world. I can feel everybody in my face. Y'all, I got my nose. So anywho, sometimes you'll learn that that's why time exists, because we give it power over us, but time really is just a fluid thing. That's why you could see a video that I posted today in the next 3 years, and it could tell somebody about their spiritual journey that they're going through then. I could see somebody's video from 3 months ago, and it could tell me everything about what's going on in my life within the last 3 days. Time is not, everybody's on different timelines, but when a message comes through to a true spiritualist like myself, it needs to be said so that it can be put out into the algorithm for someone else to catch it when they need to catch it. So somebody's going to see this video and be like, oh my God, I didn't realize that what was going on during COVID back then. Oh my God, because I didn't see that back then. But I've been saying this on my platform for years. I used to say it on Facebook. I used to say it on Instagram. I'm just finally putting it onto YouTube, because there was a point in time where I used to say this on YouTube when I lived with my mom, because I was living in her mind, in her world, in her womb, in her reality. Every time I posted something like this on YouTube, it would get blocked. It would get banned. They almost took my YouTube channel down because I used to talk about COVID shots and vaccinations, because that shit used to offend my mom and the world that she's from, and the vibration and frequency that she's on. And that's why even now, just speaking on her, my nose started to get dry, because that reality is. But people are holding on because they have government jobs that are giving them more energy and giving them the ability to siphon from other people. That's why these bosses at these jobs ain't really bosses. They're really actually fucking witches and warlocks that are being paid to siphon your energy, where they get to take a cut home for them so they can feel nourished. And they have to also do the job for the job. Like, their job is literally to siphon everybody's energy that's under them. Meanwhile, they're also getting siphoned by their boss. But then they get a cut that they get to take home with themselves. At a certain level of spirituality, you'll start to see it. I feel each generation got attacked and weaponized against each other. It's not even just generations. It's like simply mindsets. Because some Generation Z people don't have any issues with other people. Some baby boomers understand my generation. It's about frequency. How deep has your mind gone? Because, see, my brothers and sisters, their father, he very much understood aliens, Roswell, all of that stuff. He was always talking about, the government got aliens watching me. Ooh, and people say he was crazy. But now they over on TV talking about they got aliens that they got samples from. He looking like, so y'all put me in a crazy house all that time, and look, who the fuck was crazy now, motherfuckers? But it took several generations for his ideologies to finally be put on the forefront, because this is the year and the century of Aquarius. Nothing can be hidden anymore. We're not in the age of Pisces where delusion and two twins going two different ways, swimming up the stream, going against the flow. No, we're in the age of Aquarius, which is truth and honesty. You can't hide shit no more. That's why I'm able to say this stuff about COVID shots on the internet now. I can speak the truth on the internet without being blocked. That's why not Jeff Bezos, what's the other guy? Mark, whoever the guy was, the one who made Tesla. He basically said, we're not going to breach nobody's freedom to speak no more on our platform. He came out and said that. He's like, yeah, I'm going to let everybody say what they need to say on the platform now. So now we're able to talk about what we want to talk about now, because it's the age of Aquarius. We got random people just sitting in the parking lot trying to siphon up energy